course. So I'll share some of these tips and tricks with you guys today, and I hope that that helps. If you've watched any of my other videos and you enjoy the content that I'm sharing with you here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. I finally learned how to work out all these YouTube analytics and whatnot, and I've been so thrilled that over the course of a few months, I've already been able to gain over 4,000 subscribers, which for me is incredible. I honestly didn't even think I was going to reach 100. Like, that was my goal 2 months ago. So thank you so much. If you're not subscribed, I figured out that 95% of you have actually not clicked that subscribe button when you're watching the video. So if you'd like to support me and push me to keep on going with this YouTube stuff, then please click the subscribe button, hit like, and click that bell notification if you'd like to be updated on more content coming your way soon. And let's get started, shall we? So my helpful and handy tip number 1 would be to find an app that you like, download it, and use it on a daily basis. So I'm talking anything like Babbel or Duolingo. If you're really set on learning German quickly, I would say do Babbel, because Babbel goes a little bit more into detail with the German language, and you can actually choose how long you want to learn each day, and they will notify you each day and say, hey, you haven't done your 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever you would like. So they actually push you and notify you to keep on going, and that's something that really helped for me. I'll link all of the tips that I mentioned, any links that there are, down below in the description. Number 2, and you're probably not surprised, but I would suggest to listen to as much German music as you can. And you might think, what is German music? When I first came to Germany, I didn't even know there was like such thing as German music, but they do definitely have their own style, especially when I mention Schlager music. And I personally am not a fan of Schlager music. I think it's just a little bit too cheesy for my taste, and unless I've had a few beers too many, I usually am not a huge fan of the music. But there is that occasional situation where I am in the mood, I've had a couple beers, I'm usually in a beer tent, perhaps at Oktoberfest, and I first started learning German through music when a bunch of drunk men came up to me on the streets in the old town of Düsseldorf and started singing to me, Schatzi, schenk mir ein Foto, schenk mir ein Foto von dir. And I was like, excuse me? And all I knew was what Schatzi meant, like sweetie. And I was like, who are you calling sweetie? And I was like so appalled. So I went home, translated the music, realized, okay, this wasn't just a song that they made up. It's actually some Schlager song that everybody tends to sing in different sorts of festive environments here in Germany. Also, I would suggest listening to mainstream pop, because German pop music is usually quite easy to understand. If I was to mention one, I would mention Helene Fischer. And if there's any Germans watching this, you're probably laughing at me being like, God, no, she's making everybody listen to Helene Fischer. There's nothing wrong with Helene Fischer. She's just very mainstream, that when one of her songs comes on, I find a lot of Germans are like, this song again. Unless they've consumed too much beer, then they usually get really excited about one of her songs. And yes, I'm talking more particularly about Atemlos durch die Nacht, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to sing to you guys. Of course, a third point would be to watch TV shows and movies in German and with the German subtitles, because I find that that makes a lot more sense. You start to connect the words and the sound of the words being spoken. I personally watched Big Bang Theory in German because I had already seen all of the episodes in English, so I already knew what was going on when they were talking or when they were in a certain situation. When I say watch German movies, I mean ones that have been created in German originally. And there's actually one that I would suggest everybody check out because I found it absolutely hilarious, and I was able to watch it even when I was like A1 level German, because it's an English movie called Friendship, and it's actually 2 German actors, and this boy is from East Germany and he's headed over to America, to San Francisco, to find his father. And basically it's just a ton of funny things and ridiculous things happen to them in America, and it goes through a lot of these like cultural norms that they have in America or things that might be weird for Germans, and it's definitely a great laugh, but they also speak a little bit of German in the program, so you get to understand the culture, you get to listen to a little bit of the language, the movie's in English, so that's a really, really easy one to get started with. My fourth tip would be, if you live in Germany, go to the grocery store or the post office or any local market as much as you can and check out the products. I would also say talk to the staff and ask them questions if you need, but I know that a lot of us are quite shy when it comes to speaking German at the beginning, and I understand that because I myself was like ridiculously shy for the first few years when I moved here, and even when I knew a bit of German, I still didn't manage to like get it out and speak. But more so, go to the grocery store and read the products. You're gonna have to read products anyway because you're gonna need to know, what am I buying and is this the right product that I'm buying compared to what I used to buy at home? So read the labels, read what's in them, start studying, and you'll be surprised how much you actually pick up just at the grocery store. I know you guys probably don't want to hear it, but step number 5 for me would definitely be take an intensive German course. If you don't live in Germany, or if there's a pandemic like there is right now, you can still do this online. You don't have to do it in class. I really recommend Smarter German. I don't know if you've heard about it before, but it's smartergerman.com. I actually have a 10% off code that I will also link below in the description. But basically, the owner of Smarter German, he's been teaching German for the last 20 years, one-on-one, as a tutor, as a teacher with bigger classes, and he created this online intensive course from A1 to B2, and there's 3 different courses that you can choose from, but he does it really, really well. And so I would say my biggest mistake, and I actually mentioned this in one of my other videos when I talk about 8 things that I wish somebody had have told me before I learned the German language, but one thing that I recommend is that you take an intensive language course when you first move here, or even before you get here, and you do it entirely. Do an intensive language course before getting a job here in Germany, because you will learn so much of what you need to know in an intensive class, and you will learn a lot of the grammar and how to build a sentence and how to speak also formally, which is one thing that I personally lack at the moment. This is one of the fastest ways that you can learn German perfectly, and that is because an intensive course isn't a nighttime course where you go 2 times a week. No, an intensive course is you go Monday to Friday, usually from 9 to 4 or 9 to 5, and you learn every day, all day. It is exhausting and it is intensive, but it is going to be one of the best ways to learn German perfectly, really fast. So if you want to have a little more fun and you want to take it out of the classroom, my 6th tip would definitely be head to the bar. A little bit of liquid courage does not hurt. This is honestly how I got over my barrier of learning the language and then actually being able to speak it. I needed a tiny bit of liquid courage to be able to just talk relaxed and not worry about what other people thought of me. So it might not work for everybody, but it really worked for me. And then after a few times going to the bar and just like meeting people who I didn't know and who I probably would never see again, I felt a lot more comfortable outside of the bar setting to actually speak the language. So this might work for you as well. Not that I'm encouraging drinking. I feel like I've brought that up a lot in this video. Number 7 would be, if you have German friends, or if you have a way to make German friends, make them and talk to them. You have to speak. Number 1 rule when learning German is, if you do not speak, you are not going to learn the language quickly. You have to constantly continue practicing and implementing different words into your daily vocabulary and into your daily conversation. I used to make it a point of mine to actually add 1 or 2 words a day into my vocabulary, depending on who I was speaking to or where I was going. If you don't have German friends, or you don't have a way of meeting them at the moment, watch vloggers, watch YouTube vloggers speaking German about a topic that you like, whether that's makeup or sports or pets or whatever that might be. Watch them talk about it, because they're also talking often in a very informal way. And I find that a lot of internationals mostly ask me, how did you learn how to speak this casual German? Because in an intensive course, you learn how to speak formally, more professionally. But I speak a lot of the time very unprofessionally, very casual. And this is how I learned it, was by watching vlogs and speaking with my friends, going to the bar. It all helps. Number 8 would be to use Google Translate and make it your best friend. I use Google Translate probably like 30 times a day at least. When I'm translating emails, when I'm translating text messages, when I'm talking to my friends, I use it all the time. Sometimes I use it when I'm not using it for anything, just because I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, how do I say that in German again? And you can actually press the audio button that will read back the text to you in German so you can hear it being pronounced and you can read it. And I've just found that that has helped me very often learn new vocabulary on my own and learn it very, very quickly. Number 9 would be, if you haven't moved to Germany yet, if you're planning on moving to Germany, I would definitely recommend to brush up on your German a little bit before you come here. And this was also a mistake I made. I came here with zero German knowledge, and that really hindered my learning process at the beginning because I didn't have that basic vocabulary like Hallo, wie geht's? Ich heiße Jenna. Wie alt bist du? Woher kommst du? All of these like very basic German phrases I had to learn. And so it will be much easier for you to learn much, much faster if you already have the basics down pat. I, of course, had to learn this in an intensive course, but I also was using websites like Udemy. I don't know if you've heard it before, but this is basically where freelancers add their own courses online. And so there's a lot of fun ones on Udemy. You can also, of course, check out YouTube as well. And finally, number 10 is don't back down. Motivational speech of the day. I say this because there are going to be so many instances where somebody calls you or the person at the cash register asks you a question. And at the beginning, I used to say, es tut mir leid, mein Deutsch ist leider nicht so gut. Können wir auf Englisch sprechen? And then they would start speaking English right away. So I would get out of the situation as fast as I could because I just didn't want to be embarrassed by how bad my German actually was. But this is going to be how you learn German so quickly, is if you actually push yourself. And I know I am so shy when it comes to speaking German, or I used to be. I still am, because I've been wanting to make a YouTube video on me speaking German for a very long time now, and I just can't bring myself to do it. But one day I will, I promise, when I gain the courage. But you should always try to speak as much German as you can before you actually ask somebody to switch into English. And as much as people like to say that Germans are not friendly and they won't help you when you need help, when it comes to speaking the German language, I find Germans to be so sweet, so understanding, and very, very helpful. They usually giggle a little bit and say, no, your German is very good. Dein Deutsch ist echt gut. Kein Problem, keine Angst. Wir können auch auf Englisch reden. And they're just so supportive. So that is what helped me along the way and helped me gain the courage to also speak, is to realize nobody is judging you. Just do it. Don't give up and just keep pushing yourself, and don't jump out of those German conversations too quickly. Fight through them and you can do it. So I hope that was a little bit of a good motivational speech for you guys. Those were 10 of my tips how to learn German as fast as possible. You can take as many as you'd like and use them in your own daily life. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, that is all for me. Vielen lieben Dank. Don't forget to subscribe und bis später.